morning. Let's have a conversation. For those of you watching, hope you hit the like button, the subscribe button, all that great stuff. I'm just going to go on ahead and get right into it before the people come in live because we're going to have a live conversation. I am of the opinion that both Carmelo Anthony's parents and Austin Metcalf's parents failed him at this point in the game. And here's why I say that. I'm just going to go on ahead and just get right to my points, and then I'll reiterate those points as we move along throughout the program. Here's why I say Carmelo Anthony's parents failed him. His Miranda rights. Right? Miranda versus Arizona, 384 U.S. 436, 1966, right? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be provided to you at no cost, right? Of course, I know you're going to watch this and you're going to say, well, his parents failed him long ago because, one, you don't bring a knife to a stadium where you have a track meet. I get that, right? So allegedly, he was supposedly suspended and wasn't even supposed to be there. You don't put yourself in the dangerous propensities of people that you get you get where I'm going. We're gonna have that conversation. We're gonna continue to have that conversation. But that was one thing that I was thinking about because I was watching more reports and more statements about this thing that took place, and I just remembered that he had allegedly, because we still haven't seen any body cam from the responding police officers, and if it is out there, let me know. But I haven't seen any body camera, anything like that, with this rest just stay, which is Latin for excited utterance type statement, where he's allegedly saying there's no alleged, I did it. Is Austin Metcalf okay? And asking, well, could this be used as self-defense? Why is your child talking to the police? Why is your child talking to the police? Anything you say can and will be used against you. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Right? And I don't care how much of a victim you say you are or how right you think you are. You don't talk to the police until you have the presence of a lawyer and you've had a chance to go over your statement, whatever the case might be. Talk to your lawyer. That. And here's where I say Austin's parents failed him. I say Austin's parents failed him because, here we go. Somebody reaches inside of a bag, make me, touch me, see what happens. Why would you then touch this person and expect not to get stabbed? Does that make sense? That's just where I'm at with it. Does that make sense? What's going on, Calvin? What's going on, TNT? Can you all hear me? Sound off in the comments. Let me know you can hear me. And I want to have a conversation. I want to have a live around this. Well, we are having a live, but I want to have a conversation around this. It's always the pressure test that these kids fail. Well, I told him not to talk to the police. Yeah, you told him. But you're telling him is doing what? What's you're telling him doing? And so, I've looked at a lot of different posts across a lot of different social media platforms. And I've seen that, Carmelo Anthony comes from a 2-parent family. I've seen the houses or the house or the places where he's lived. I've seen the places where he's traveled and, his parents took him there and the gifts that he was given and stuff like that. And so to Black parents, it's like, oh my God, he lived a great life. He lived it. Well, Black culture is a very materialistic culture. So since Black culture is a very materialistic culture, you think that just because he has the food on the table, clothes on your back, a roof over your head, pot to piss in, willing to throw it out of, and that you've been to Disney World and you've been to this place and you've gotten a car and it's been bow wrapped and whatever the case may be, and you've gotten this and you got that, you all take pictures and you look good in your clothes, that, and by the way, you're on the football team, and you got a 3.7, 4.0, I don't care if it was a 5.9 GPA, that all of a sudden son is taught and knew how to handle himself. And as a person who is a philosopher, what does that mean? I love wisdom. As a person who's a philosopher, as a person who is learned and continuously learning in the space of, child development and marital law and family and consumer sciences, formerly called home economics, and a variety of other topics surrounding the family and us being prepared for what we need to be prepared for and taught in this space, and then taking that knowledge and then applying that knowledge and parenting to Black culture. When I had a shirt before that said Black moms ruin sons, and people had a problem with what I said, this is one of the things that I'm talking about. This is one of the things that I'm talking about. And I like talking about Black culture because I'm Black. You see what I'm saying? No, I've lost weight, Jake. I like talking about Black culture because I'm Black. Don't have me talk about white culture. Don't have me talk about Hispanic culture. Don't have me talk about Asian culture or other cultures, even though I've studied them too. But I want to talk about Black because that's what this is. This is a Black culture issue right here. You knowingly put yourself in the dangerous propensities, or the so-called dangerous propensities of this person, a tent that you didn't, granted, legally, could you have been there? Yes, but you did not belong there because this was a competition. And I don't even know if you were even one of the persons competing or practice or whatever this was. You were not supposed to be in that particular area by virtue of the what was going on at the time. And you normally put yourself there. And then when things go wrong, right, then all of a sudden you want to claim victim. That's a Black culture thing. That is definitely a Black culture thing. Black culture loves conflict. It cultivates it. It prepares its children for it. It prepares the adults for it. Every race has their product of what they put out to society. You don't have to like me, just listen, just have ears for it. Every race has a product that they put out to society, right? White folks put out a product for the culture and for society's use. Hispanics, Asians, you get it. What are the stereotypes? What do Asians put out? Technology, a variety of other different things. What do Hispanics put out? A variety of other different things. What do Black folks put out? What does Black culture put out? I'm not talking about Black history. I'm talking about modern Black culture. What does Black culture put out? Violence and entertainment. Violence and entertainment. What does Black culture put out? Violence and entertainment. I hate to say it. Yeah, I hate to say it. It is what it is. Violence and entertainment. Black culture cultivates conflict. You don't let the children walk away. You said it before. Yes, violence and entertainment. Kendrick Lamar, they not like us. What is that? Entertainment. Even Josh Johnson in his comedy special. I got the video. If I'm lying, I'm dying, I'm flying. Look it up on YouTube. Josh Johnson even said this. They were talking to Josh Johnson. He's a Black comic, Black comedian, and they were asking him. They were saying Kendrick Lamar didn't say too much, didn't, could have went far, pushed the issue. What did he say? Art can save your life. Entertainment cannot be your savior. Entertainment cannot be your savior. Every revolutionary that the government tried to delete, 9 times out of 10, they wrote a book and it's in a library for free. And just because they know you're not going to read it, they put it in a library for free for you to go read it. Chris Rock even said it. You want to hide something from a Black person or a Black, just put it in a book because they don't read. Like, you get so many different, what does Black culture say? There's no manual for parenting, right? So the things that we need to know as Black boys so that we can grow to be men with manners and skills and qualifications and understanding how to operate in society and things. We don't get taught those things because our parents are ignorant. So when they said he come from a 2-parent family, I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because if one ignorant person is bad, 2 ignorant people can't be better. Does that mean now? And I'm talking about ignorance by virtue of the definition of ignorant, generally not knowing, right? That's what ignorance simply means in the dictionary. I'm not talking about ignorant in terms of what someone may use in an attempt to insult you. I'm talking about ignorance just in general. Ignorance just in general. You generally don't know. And it is very much possible that Karmelo Anthony's parents were ignorant to this thing. Just because y'all been married and just because you got money and just because y'all been together for years, what does that mean within the space of what Karmelo Anthony need? I'm not surprised he's on the football team. Didn't I sit there and say that Black culture puts out violence and entertainment? What is sports? Besides sports, it's entertainment. It entertains you, right? It's what it is. It's entertainment. You see what I'm saying? It's entertainment. So that's a culture. That's a cultural thing. You're either gonna go to the NBA, you're gonna go to the NFL, or you're gonna be a rapper. We don't put out scientists. We don't invent shit. We damn sure don't go into the early childhood education space. The education is it's a variety of our culture is just effed up, just so bad to the point where they're defending what Carmelo Anthony did. Well, he had a right to defend himself. Why was he there in the first place? Why was he there in the first place? His parents failed him. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what nobody say. Say what you want to say. I don't care what nobody say. You don't have to like me. You know, 1 point something million people, and I got 36 people watching. Probably I picked a bad time to go live. It's whatever. I'm gonna say it. It simply is what it is. His parents failed him. Here we go. Now, Jamal's message is held for review, but I'm going to read it. Okay. He said, this N word is blind. We don't invent N word, you a clown. Matter of fact, I'm going to show his message. I'm going to show his message. Right? He's right. Not that I'm a clown. Not that I'm a clown, but he is right. We don't invent. See, he just proved my point. Didn't we used to invent back in the day? Right? The last black invention was in the early to mid 70s. He's right. If a broken clock is right twice a day, that's why I let his message stand. Jamal is exactly right. We don't invent. He's right. See, we don't invent. Why? Because you have to have a love for education to want to see something, see it is broken, try to fix it, or create something new. So he's right. He just proved my point. We don't invent. And what he thought was going to be an insult actually proved my point. See, can't make this up. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. Really, Army drill sergeant has invented a water machine from air. When? I'm sorry, I added the drill. Civilians just talked out of the side of their head. That's you. Okay, well, if you're really a drill sergeant, go tend to your people. There you go. I just hit his messages. I don't even want to deal with the likes of him anymore. It's one of the beauties about social media. Y'all do me a favor, hit the like button. I'm not saying he did. I'm not saying he didn't. I said when. I'm not doubting it. What does my shirt say? I may be wrong, but I doubt it. What does this shirt imply? That I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. You said, why were the twins there that day? Don't they go to Memorial? If they go to Memorial, they can't go to a event to support their school. Does that make sense? You said Ashley held down, no chains, grew up in Detroit, only white kid in class, and they shut down my school. I don't know what that means. I don't help me understand the connection between what I said and your comment, Sean. I really want to understand. Y'all do me a favor. Can y'all do me a favor, please? Can you hit that like button, please? It'll get more people into the conversation because I'm really of the opinion that Austin's parents failed him. And I'm gonna tell you why, and it's not just Austin, it's Austin's parents failed. Sorry about that. Yeah, Austin's parents failed him, and Carmelo's parents failed him too. Remember the time where you would get those white parents? Remember the time where you would get the white parents that would tell their children, you might want to stay away from those types because at times they can be very violent and they don't come from good homes that teach them manners. Now, we can have that conversation as to whether or not that's true. But with that advice, would that advice have served Austin well in this incident? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Remember those white parents that used to sit there and say, you might want to stay away from those types because at times they could be violent. Would that advice had made sense at that moment? Now, Michael X says no. Well, it cost Austin his life. Michael X, we're saying the same thing. Oh, Jesus Christ. See, that's what I'm talking about. Michael X, that advice would have served him better was to keep his hands to himself. If you stay away from those types, you're keeping your hands to yourself because you're staying away. Does that make sense? You said technically it may have helped him, but that's not the right way. I agree, Luke. I agree. You get no disagreement with me there. I'm not talking about the value judgment of that statement. I'm not talking about whether it's right or whether it's wrong, whether it's legal, whether it's illegal, whether it's moral or immoral. I'm just saying that statement. You might want to stay away from those types because at times they can get violent. And if we go back on my statement where I said before, Black culture puts out a product presently to the society. Every race has a product that they put out for the utility of society. You don't have to like me. Just look at things anthropologically, sociologically. Does that make sense? Whites put out a product, Hispanics put out a product, Asians put out a product, Black folks put out a product. Does that make sense? Right? We used to invent. Anyway, people don't have manners, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Can y'all hear me? Because I had a phone call come through. Okay. I'm talking about stereotypes. Here we go. That's what I'm saying. Every race has a product that they put out to society. If it's Taco Tuesday, are you going if you in Chicago, are you going to Little Village where the Hispanics are? Or are you going to Miss Sophia's Soul Food Shack where she also sells tacos? I'm not saying her tacos are not good, but if you want authentic tacos, you're probably going to go to the source. Does that make sense? If you going to Soul Food, are you going to Michael O'Shaughnessy's pub? Right? You could be mad at me, and that's fine. I may be wrong, but I doubt it. Right? Stereotypes are there for a reason, right? So if Austin's father said, you might want to stay, we're not talking about Black people historically. We're talking about current modern culture. That's what I'm talking about. If in fact Black folks put out a product currently, violence and entertainment, good at acting, music, you know what I'm saying? Football, NFL. You get what I'm saying? Right? Violence and entertainment. That's currently, they don't invent stuff anymore. They're not heavy in the education space. They don't even value education. Try to get them to go to a library. That's going to be like pulling teeth. Reading scores are horrible. Math scores are horrible. You see what I'm saying? So they're not putting out an education product. That doesn't mean all Black folks are ignorant. That's not what that means. I'm talking about on the whole, right? If it's violence and entertainment, you might want to stay away from those types because look at social media. The YNs be crashing out. The YNs be, come on now, you mad at me, I'm fine. But I may be wrong, but I doubt it. The YNs crash out. So if the YNs crash out, is he probably a YN? Don't know. Maybe he's not. Maybe. But he's not walking around with 4.0 GPA written across his forehead. He's not walking. That's not on his forehead. So what does a 4.0 GPA look like? Tell me what a 4.0 GPA look like? Does that make sense? 4.0 GPA, what does that look like? 4.0s can be crash outs too. Yes. You said Asian. Is that Asian? Hey, you're entirely wrong. You said Asian, right? So what does 4.0 GPA look like? You get what I'm saying? Not Karmelo. Because on the whole, black culture on the whole does not put out more 4.0 GPAs than other races. You see what I'm saying? You say, and just because he had all that stuff on social media doesn't mean he grew up in a good home either. Yes. You see what I'm saying? What is this definition of that which is a good home? Right? Let me get back to my previous statement though. Hang tight. If Austin's dad and mom would have sat there and said, you might want to stay away from those types if they get hostile. You might want to back down. You might want to take their hands. You might not want to. Hey, look, I know Austin, hero, football team, used to touching people, defensive tackle, whatever his position was. Austin, son, I love you. If you come across one of them YNs, as they call it, right, you might want to walk away from those types because they don't get to fisticuffs. They don't use their fist. They're going to crash out. You might end up losing your life. Stay away from those types. Here we go. Let's take it back to old school rhetoric. They're not good people. They don't come from good homes. They aren't taught good manners. Some of that stuff is true. Some of that's, hey, as a parenting educator, I'm qualified to speak to it. I got a damn near free class. I teach parenting. How many black parents you think sign up? I'm an early childhood educator. How many black parents you think sign up? I know y'all following me for the pew pew content, but I'm more than just a pew pew instructor. I teach parenting. I teach anger management. I teach trauma focused. I teach a lot of different things, and I'm qualified to teach those things. How many black parents you think sign up for my damn near free classes? I got an anger management focus group Tuesday nights at my space. Let me show you how my space looks. Come on, come with me. Let me show you how my space looks. Now I'm setting up to go right, but look at how big my space is. Look at how big my space is. Look at how big my space is, right? Yes, you see the pictures and stuff like that, right? TVs, everything. Here's all my children's books. I write children's books in English and Spanish. Whose fault? Not mine. Teaching about responsibility, right? Black folks swear up and down. They don't know. Here we go. Mommy, daddy, please teach me. Here we go. I'm teaching about life skills. What I tell myself first, children's real world affirmations of self-esteem. I got tools. Look at all my books here. Here we go. I got a bunch of books here. And this ain't just one of them. Okay, I'm advertising that's not what I'm doing. But look at all these books. Ships, right? This talks about relationships, right? Feelings, a variety of different things. Just all here, reread the reader. I even have other people's books here. Workbook. How many parents you think come to my class? How many parents you think come to my class? How many black folks you think want to get education on parenting? Boy, they're not trying to get that shit. Black parents are some of the most laziest. They are some of the most laziest. They will not sign up for classes. They don't want to read. They don't want the resources. They do not want the resources. They don't want it. Black parents are the laziest. I don't care what anybody says. And lazy simply means unwilling. They simply mean unwilling. That's what it means. I'm not talking about them as a person. I'm just they are just unwilling to learn. They think they know everything. You know, and I'm not talking about black history. I'm talking about modern black culture. They are most black parents, not all, But most black parents are absolutely the laziest. They don't want to evolve. They think they know everything. They're wrong most of the time. Mike, do you feel a resentment for modern culture? Modern what culture? Let's put some specifics on this. And when you say resentment, let me do what most black folks, most black parents are not going to do. And I'm going to go to this dictionary and I'm going to try to, I know what resentment means, but I love to confirm with the dictionary bitter indignation at having been treated unfairly. So let me look at your, hey, Rod, um, you said rap culture. Uh, no, not rap. I don't give a fuck about rap culture. Rap culture, I can talk about that. Do you feel a resentment, a bitter indignation at having been treated unfairly? I don't know if that's the right word. Anger or annoyance provoked by what has been perceived as unfair treatment. No, no. To answer your question, no, no. I don't feel a resentment. And I don't, that's why I love going to the dictionary to look at what the word means, because the way a person is using a word may not be what the word means. You see what I'm saying? So your question asked, do I feel a resentment for the modern culture? No, I don't feel a resentment for the modern culture, because if you look at the end of that definition, anger or annoyance provoked by, so you got causation, what is perceived as unfair treatment. Unfair is a value judgment. Okay, so we changed it. Maybe not resentment, but like a sadness for the ignorance. No, I don't feel sad. I don't feel sad. You know who I feel sad for? I feel sad for the children, because the children do not deserve black ignorance. Ignorance in general. Ignorance in general, but they don't deserve black ignorance. Yeah, I don't feel a resentment. No, I'm not angry or annoyed at unfit. Well, you know what? In context, you might have a point. You might have a point. There is anger or annoyance at what is perceived as unfair treatment. So yes, and I'm going to go back on that. Yes, I do feel that, because the kids are caught in the crossfire at black parents' ignorance. Mhm. You said, I believe that our problems are less race based and more class based. I don't believe our problems are race or class based. I believe the problems are, there's a library down the street, but your dumb ass don't want to go to the, and I'm not talking about you, Jade. I'm not talking about you, Jade. You see what I'm saying? But let me rephrase what I'm saying. It's not race or class. The library is down the street. Bilal, I can't speak on white parents. And the reason I can't speak on white parents, because even though I studied white culture and other cultures, right, I get back to black culture and that pisses me off more than anything. Why does that piss me off more than anything? Because I'm in Chicago. I am in a liberal city. I am in a liberal city, Chicago, right? Here we go. You're saying there's no manual for parenting, but the library is right down the street. The library is right down the street. Take your child to the library. They offer free reading courses. You can go learn how to read with your child. You don't have to be stupid. Most black parents love being ignorant. They love it. They love it. Why? They show they love it. They swear up and down they know everything. They want to be right. They are often wrong, and it shows. They are often wrong. Now, here we go. When I talk about black parents, here you go. You got, take care, Luke. You got the what about ism. Whenever I go to talking about black parents, they always deflect and go to, what about whites? What about Hispanics? What about Asians? What about this? What about that? Now, Jade, you said I grew up in poverty and was taught that education was the only way out. I held on to that and ran with it. But see, I was taught that, and some people aren't. Jade, you know who else don't mess with black Americans? Africans. Most Africans do not mess with black Americans. Why? Most black, they do not mess with, why? Because they will tell you. I had one lady who she was an amazing lady, African from Nigeria. She sat there and she was like, yes, you're absolutely correct. You got all this opportunity here in America and you don't take advantage of it. Most Africans do not mess with Black Americans. Why? Because they can't hang around ignorant folks. They can't hang around ignorant folks. They can't hang around ignorant folks. Shumshan, I will not let you attack me. I will take you off this channel. Now you can ask me valid questions. No, my wife is not white. Just to answer that question, no. But I'm not going to deal with the attacks. Okay. Um, you said the education system is a complete joke too. Well, here's this: the education system. First of all, Black folks, y'all do me a favor. 66 people watching, 23 likes. Can every last one of you all hit the like button, please? It gets more people into the conversation. You said education isn't about classic classroom teaching. There needs to be an encouragement for curiosity of the student. But guess what? You don't get curiosity for the student if the parents stay ignorant. Rod Turbo, you don't demand that I answer your question. You ask me to answer your question, and I will happily oblige if I choose to answer your question. You don't tell me to answer your question. You stay in your place. That's what you do. And your place is to exercise good manners and ask me, and I will engage you. Now, I will allow you to reframe your question so that I can answer it if I so choose. Or you can act rather Blackish, right? And then I'll just block you. Do you understand? Let's move on. No, I'm not scrolling up. I'm not scrolling up. Who are you? You're no one that I should. And now, don't get me wrong. You are someone. You are definitely someone, and you have value. But to me, that value is very little. You need to establish that value. So don't tell me to scroll up. Ask the question again and use some manners. And just maybe I'll answer your question or I'll just block you and move on. Moving on. I'm a big fan. Can you please shout me out? Hey, that's what I said. And who are you? Exactly. See, here we go. Rod Turbo. There we go. See, here we go. Rod Turbo is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to let him live just to prove my point, right? Instead of Rod Turbo, and I'm going to go back and scroll up to you all's comments for sure, right? Here we go. Instead of Rod Turbo understanding that what I just did was verbally establish a boundary, Rod Turbo likely comes from a household and a culture within his family that's filled with violence, right? That's filled with violence. And when he doesn't understand that I'm trying to verbally establish a boundary, what does he do? He goes to violence. Didn't I sit here and say Black culture is good at producing a societal product of violence and entertainment? See? And Rod Turbo is showing that, right? He doesn't know how to use good communication skills because his family doesn't have good communication skills, right? He doesn't know how to use manners because his family didn't teach him manners. You see what I'm saying? No, it's not that I don't agree with you. I'm not going to scroll up and bend to your statements. I'm not going to scroll up. I asked you to reframe your question, and then I will gladly answer it when I choose to address that question. That's what I said. And Lakers Adventure, I'm not going to answer anything in all caps. Take the caps lock out your voice. Type like a normal human being would. Okay? Yeah, type like a normal human being would. I'm not doing all that caps. We are also good at survival instincts. Look at how long we survived as a people for so many years. Bilal, what's the are you talking about Black folks? You said he's out of pocket. Rod Turbo, go make sure your children can read at grade level at least. There you go. Gone. You see, I ain't got time for that. Um, but we don't want more than just to survive. What about thriving? Well, you Black culture can't thrive if you don't go to the library and learn. If you could ask, if you could ask for some ass, if you could ask for some Jordans, if you could ask for a handout, you could ask for some education. Black culture wants to be a victim. Black culture is a victim culture. It's a consumer class, not a producer class. The only thing that we produce is more money for people who make money off of when we have violence and entertainment. Harry asked the question, do I believe racism still exists? I don't really care. What's the utility of racism? Right? What's the utility of racism? Okay. We can talk about what it is. We could talk about how fair, unfair, right, wrong, legal, illegal, moral, immoral, those are all value judgments. Value judgments get in the way of understanding. And it says in the Bible, in all that getting, get an understanding, right? So here we go. Let's get an understanding. Let's set aside the value judgment of it. What is the utility of racism? Since you asked the question, I'm going to take that question and I'm going to throw it back to you. What is the utility of it? What is the utility of claiming superiority over another race? What is the end goal that this race is trying to get to? What's the end goal? Right? You said, I believe everyone has the same opportunities. Sometimes it takes a little longer to get goals than other people, but as long as you stay focused, we all have the same outcome. There's some truth to what you said. We may not all get the same outcomes. We may have mostly the same opportunities, but how we go about getting them depends on a variety of different factors. Yeah, a variety of different factors. That's a very broad, ambiguous conversation that we could have. Very broad. You said there's no utility. That's not true. That's not true at all. Do you know what utility means? What's the usefulness of it? In claiming and acting in a manner to claim, and I'll give you, let's take it away from race. Let's look at country. Let's look at the United States of America, right? Let's look at the United States of America. We claim that we are number one. What is the biggest thing that our country spends money on? What is the biggest thing? Sound off in the comments. What is the biggest thing that our country spends money on? We say we're number one. Why are we supposedly number one? In what war? You get it. The defense. Why? Because we have to be militaristically, I said that right. We have to be militaristically strong. Militarily, that's what I meant. We have to militarily be strong enough to be able to destroy other countries to then hold this status of being number one, right? The country was founded on violence. It was started on violence. Properties and things were taken and claimed. You see what I'm saying? Separated from one country, started another one, took from others. You see what I'm saying? So in essence, when you take from others, you got to be able to defend what you took. Otherwise, people are going to take it back. Does that make sense? That's the utility of that defense budget being so high. So high is that we're number one. You're going to agree. Or remember, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Hey, let's go. Remember, you get what I'm saying? You said defense is the primary job of the government under Constitution. Yes, but what's the utility of that, right? So here we go. Let's get back to racism. What's the utility of one race claiming and having the ability to exercise all types of or any type of superiority over another to maintain what? Right? You're asking me, do I still believe it exists? I'm having a broader conversation behind just the yes or no answer. Power, right? Power, so that our children can still be able to grow and flourish from this land we took from others. So that does that make sense? When I look at the utility of things, I begin to understand how it's used. So me thinking or even caring about its existence, that's I don't really care. I understand why one may decide to do it to another. Let's take it away from the United States. Let's look at Africa, the continent of Africa. Before there was the transatlantic slave trade, there was slavery going on in Africa. What's the utility of taking over another kingdom or a weaker tribe and then taking them after they lost in war and using them for, you see what I'm saying? What's the utility of that? See, we want to talk about the unfair treatment in America. We don't want to talk about the slavery that has taken the sub-Saharan or the trans-Saharan slave trade and we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about the Egyptians enslaving the Israelites in the Bible. We don't want to talk about that. You see what I'm saying? We don't want to talk about that. You want to stick to just racism, and we don't want to talk about Irish being enslaved. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to have that conversation to see that, well, yeah, Africans in America being enslaved, yeah, there were some brutal things that happened, but slavery is a human condition. We don't want to talk about the utility of these things. We just want to keep people mad at how unfair this treatment is. In fact, we don't want to talk about the Dahomey tribe or the Dahomey kingdom in Africa that was set up as an African kingdom that warred on other smaller African kingdoms, beat them at war, took them, and then sent them or delivered them to the coastal areas for Europeans and Spaniards to then take those Africans after they were sold into slavery. See, people like me who were taught in school, the white man just, this is the fucking funniest shit. The white man just came to Africa and stole us from our land, stuffed us in a can, brought across the sea, built this country three. You know, we get taught that stuff when in fact, if you're a constructivist and a person who's curious like me, and you got an open mind, and then during Black History Month, while everybody's talking about the historical achievements of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Mary McLeod Bethune and Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey and stuff like that, I'm reaching and I'm trying to, what's the true history of the slave trade? And then I do research and peer-reviewed articles, a variety of different things from an independent source or independent sources. And then I'm like, so we were sold into slavery. We weren't taken. We were given away by our own, and you can't even really say our own because just because we have the same skin color, we don't worship the same gods, we don't eat the same foods. It's different tribal and kingdom cultures. So we're not considered the same even in Africa. And then look at it in America, we, the Africans or Black folks who are in America, we still haven't had the meeting as to why we lost at Civil War or at war in Africa. So if we haven't had that meeting as to why we lost, why am I listening to most Black folks when you could be the descendants of idiots? I said what I said. I said what I said. Have you ever thought that the reason why we held behind is because we haven't had that meeting as to why we're the descendants of idiots? You ever thought about that? They don't want to hear the truth. They'd rather stay a victim, right? So the Mary McLeod Bethunes and the Frederick Douglass and the Marcus Garveys and Kendrick Lamar Thomas, they not like us. They not like us. Yes, they actually did something with being here and making something out of nothing. You see what I'm saying? You said we're the descendants of survivors. Okay, we could be the descendants of survivors, but those survivors could still be idiots. Just because you physically survived doesn't mean you're intellectually skilled. Does that make sense? Yes, the descendants of the losing tribes. Two things can be true. You physically survived and you're still dumb. It's true. Like, and then once you get to that stage, right? Once you get to that stage, it's like, Let me go learn because I can't learn nothing from this guy. I actually went and spoke to, I just happened upon an African elder. And this African elder, I found out he was from the Dahomey tribe, which is now modern day Benin or Benin, right? And I gave him all my theories and stuff like that. And he was like, I'm going to give you some wisdom because it sounds like you can take it, right? And I'm not going to imitate the African thing, right? Here we go. He was like, you will never find freedom from slaves. I'm listening. Go on. He was like, have you ever considered the fact that you learned what you learned about the Dahomey tribe? Have you ever heard of this before? I'm like, no, I haven't heard of that before until I did the research. You are different. And there are a few like you, but not a lot. You will never learn about freedom from people who think that the white man came to the coast of Africa. And he started laughing. He was like, the white man came to the coast of Africa on the ships that had to be powered by wind with guns that were not, and then they just came in to the continent and went through all this stuff just to come inland and take us. Do you think we do you think we were freely coming along? This is not a thing. This was stupid. Your people, right? We captured you. You lost at war. They were the losers. And we traded you for gifts and fur and all types of things. You see what I'm saying? And so he said, you will never find freedom from losers. You will never find freedom from slaves. You have to get away from people who think like this and go elsewhere and find out what you need to know. You are already doing the work. Keep going. Oh, I will never forget that he said that. Never. And I loved it. And I was like, so why did you feel that you could tell me this? Because a wise person knows when the student is here. When the student is here, I am ready to teach. You've heard this before, right? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I see it. I see it. You said, what was he getting at? What was he getting at? He was getting at the fact that a great percentage of black folks in America, you're not going to learn anything from. Because you can look at the fruits that come from the tree and tell that the tree doesn't bear good fruit. So you sound like you're making sense. You sound like it, but that's only to other ignorant people who aren't willing to go do the research and confirm if what was said was true. Alex Haley is even on record as saying the whole root story was made up. The whole root story was made up. It was just something he wanted to create so that his people can believe in something. And now you sending kids off, having black kids beat up white kids, thinking that this story is true. You see what I'm saying? So when you talk about the utility of, when you talk about, do you still think racism exists? There's a bigger conversation we got to have before we even get to racism. Don't get me wrong. We're not exonerating the ancestors of white folks for doing what they did to Africans, but I understand the utility of that too. I understand the utility of that. I understand the utility of that. If we take, if we, these, I bought you guys, right? I bought you guys. I can't have you knowing that this transaction took place. So I got to psychologically strip you and do all these things so I could make you work together in survival to do what I need you to do. Was the treatment messed up? Hell yeah. But I get the utility of it. I get it. It's no different than going to prison. It's not different than going to prison. You go to, or matter of fact, here we go. It's not different than going to the military. What do? First phase, they break you down. Second phase, starting to turn around. Third phase, I was lean and mean, standing tall in my army green. And anybody ask you why, I'll be a Marine till the day I die. Motivated and a simplified. Does that make sense? First phase, they break you down. Second phase, starting to come around. Third phase, I was lean and mean. There's phases to this. What's the utility of that? Does that make sense? There's the utility of that. In the military, we are told there is only greed. Absolutely. Same thing during that period. Break you down, strip you, change your name, take all this stuff away. Value judgment, was that messed up? Hell yeah. But what's the utility of it? Hey, Vanessa, what's the utility of it? What's the usefulness of it? And we get into the value judgments of the treatment instead of looking at the utility of it. So I didn't got off topic here. It's all still coming together, right? All still coming together, right? But what's the utility of that treatment, right? So let's get back to the topic. Let me look at some of your comments. I'm gonna look at some of your comments first before I get back to the topic, because y'all been interacting with me. I love it. I appreciate it. Can y'all hit that like button, please? You said Lakers Adventure said, sorry about that. I think modern culture in a lot of ethnicities is the lack of positive motivation and the impulse of a quick reaction to get a quick result without the responsibility. I agree with you. Pablo said, you're nailing it on this one. Thank you. You said to build more one cooperative unit to achieve the mission. Yes, the mission of building country, the mission of tilling the land, the mission of picking the cotton. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's B.F. Skinner's classic behaviorism. See, I told you I'm skilled, right? B.F. Skinner's classic behaviorism. Do this or it'll get you this punishment. Right? Do this or it'll get you this punishment. It's behavior. It's operant conditioning. Yeah. Instead of having a positive role model, a lot of people like to sit back and say, oh, that guy has this and that guy has that. Why don't I have that? Everything is obtainable through knowing your self-worth. Okay. There's context to that. We can explore that more. Yeah. But you ain't gonna obtain it if you ain't gonna go to the library. And most black parents ain't going to the library. They're not going to the library with their kids. They can barely read. Hey, Divine Order, what's going on? You said prison comes from slavery. King P, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But guess who are the number one ushers of persons to the prison complex? Parents. It's not the schools. The schools assist because the parents are dumb. Did you hear what I said? The schools assist in sending your children to the prison because your parents are ignorant. If your parents would stop their ignorance and actually evolve and grow and learn more, then they could actually cut that school to prison pipeline. But your parents are dumb. Your parents are too busy focusing on trying to compete with the Jones. Your parents are too busy focusing on trying to look like they got intellect when actually they don't. Your parents are not growing. You look at this, Karmelo Anthony, you see on social media, what are they talking about? Oh my God, he comes from a good two-parent home. And then what are you seeing? You're seeing all these different materialistic things that they provided for their son, right? Good home, other siblings, both parents are still married together, whatever the utility of that is. We can talk about that because that's a marital law, family law subject. And I'm skilled in that area. I could talk about that, right? Because marriage is a legal status, not a relationship one. Marriage is a legal status, not a relationship one. Marriage is a legal status, not a relationship one. Marriage is a legal status, not a relationship one. You see what I'm saying? And so if marriage is a legal status, not a relationship one, you could be qualified as a husband and be unqualified as a father. You could be qualified as a wife and be unqualified as a mother. Those are 4 separate jobs. Husband, wife, father, mother. Those are 4 separate job titles. 4 separate job titles. You could be a terrible husband and a great father. You see what I'm saying? You could be a terrible wife and a great mother. You see what I'm saying? Those are separate qualifications. And you said there's more to raising a kid than items. Absolutely. Why? You raise cattle, you teach children. You raise cattle, you teach children. See, raising is the provision of food on the table, clothes on your back, a roof over your head, making sure that your physical needs are sustained. Teaching children involves understanding psychological needs, child development, domains in child development. What are the domains of child development? Here we go. Physical, cognitive, language and literacy, social and emotional. Who's Frederick Froebels, right? Who's Maria Montessori? Who's Lev Vygotsky? Who's Yuri Bronfenbrenner? Who's Abraham Maslow? Right? Those of you all who are child developers, you know the names I'm spouting out. Lev Vygotsky, right? Adam Bandura, right? Maria Ainsworth or Mary Ainsworth Strange Situ. You get what I'm going, right? Here we go. Here we go. You can have a degree and be a horrible leader and mentor, right? Absolutely, because the skills that you have for the job and the ability to lead people are in fact different things. You see what I'm saying? This is why you look at teachers. You can have a person who's a subject matter specialist, but they don't understand the people that they are leading, right? And this is one of the things that parents love to say. You all might have seen this video. I hope you all value this conversation. I really do. You might have seen this video. Yes, you might have seen this video. How many of y'all seen this video right here of the grandmother who's talking to the 15-year-old boy who's about to be charged with deleting someone else's life? And what did the one thing she kept saying? I'm gonna play it. Parents. Okay. All you have to do is listen to your parents. Could you give me a hug, baby? Could you give me a hug, baby? I'm sorry you got to go through this. But all you got to do is listen to your parents. Okay? Okay? I don't know how things gonna turn out. Now, here's this. Here's the problem that I had with her statement. Here's the problem that I had with her statement. All you had to do was listen to your parents. That's not child development. See, when I sit here and say black moms ruin sons, people don't take into consideration that it's not the child's job to listen to you first. If you understand anything about child development, it is your job to tend to the needs of that child. That child doesn't have the ears and the skills cognitively to even listen to you. If you look at Jean Piaget's cognitive development theory, you have 4 areas. You have sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational. When children are first born, you got Erik Erikson's psychosocial theory of development. You got trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus shame and doubt, initiative versus guilt, industry versus inferiority, identity versus role confusion, intimacy versus isolation, generativity versus stagnation, and identity versus despair. I think that's the last one. Okay, integrity versus despair. You see what I'm saying? You got so many different theories that talk about how humans and children grow and develop. They are not going to listen to you. They don't have the capacity to do that. They don't have the capacity to do that. They don't have the capacity to do that, right? It's you who should listen to them, right? Is your son 15 years old? What type of learner is he? I ask that you all, those of you all who have children, go to educationplanner.org, right? Go to educationplanner.org. And when you go to educationplanner.org, if your children are, about 7 or 8 or whatever case, maybe I would say 8 and up, ask them to do this assessment quiz of what their learning styles are. You've got tactile learners, those who are kinesthetic learners, you've got audio learners, and then you've got visual learners, right? You get what I'm saying? You said, all due respect, do you have children? Yes, I have children. I have children and I teach them, an early childhood educator. So I'm not just blowing out the side of my head. I actually know what I'm talking about. You get what I'm saying? Here we go. You got audio learners, visual learners, and then you have kinesthetic or tactile learners. But then you've got analytical environments, you've got creative environments, and then you've got practical environments, right? And I tell you this, Yuri Bronfenbrenner would wholeheartedly agree with me in terms of one's ecological system, one's environment, right? You've got the microsystem, then it's educationplanner.org, educationplanner.org, okay? You've got the micro system, you've got the exosystem, you've got the macro system, you've got, I'm sorry, macro, you've got micro, exo, meso, macro system, and then the chrono system. You got these different systems that the child is all around. And the micro system is very important. Who's the micro system? The parents, the relatives, those who the child has the most frequent contact with, daycare providers, right? One's church, right? Those things absolutely matter. And if that child's the immediate family, if the microsystem is filled with ignorance and the environment is more so a practical environment, but it's a practical environment filled with violence, it's not analytical, it's not creative, it stumps growth. You see what I'm saying? Then where is that child to go? And if you look at Erik Erikson's psychosocial theory of development, it's supposed to be trust versus mistrust. Like that 15-year-old man, absolutely. It's supposed to be trust versus mistrust. The minute, what did children do? They cry. What's the utility of those cries? See, you may be irritated by the cry, but what's the utility of those cries? That's the way they communicate and try to get their needs met. If the adults are not responsive, then what happens? What happens? The child learns, I can't get my needs met even when I cry, no matter how hard I cry. So instead of having a trust to get the needs met, they develop a mistrust for their caregivers. Then if you look at autonomy versus shame and doubt, most homes are not designed for a child to do things according to their development, where they sense things and they do things. This is Jean Piaget's cognitive development theory. Sensory motor. Sense, do. Sense, do. Sense, things, do. They're not hearing you. The brain is hearing and soaking in what you're saying, but they're not hearing you to meet your needs. That they don't have the capacity for that. They are a sponge. So they're hearing to collect, not hearing to do what you say. Does that make sense? And so here we go. Yeah, sense things, do things. You see what I'm saying? So then what? Here we go. Autonomy versus shame and doubt. Most homes are not designed for a child's exploration of doing things. Most furniture is at the adult's height for the adult's comfort, not for the child's growth to learn how to do things. So then what happens? What happens? That child hears what? I'm going to say 2 words, yes or no. Sound off in the comments. What do you think that child hears more of? Yes or no? Yes, you can do this, or no, don't do that. Bilal is ignorant. Bilal, you are so ignorant. Sir, are you upset with your parents? You are so ignorant. Just say one more thing. Say one more thing to upset me. Here we go. Yes. Bilal, you fucking stupid. I'm going to let you stay, though. Anyway, you said they hear yes more? Yes. Here we go, Sarah. You said it. No, then they shut down. They hear the belt, Osmosis Jones. Absolutely. Absolutely. And here we go. So now you got autonomy versus shame and doubt. So now not only do you have mistrust, but now you have shame and doubt, right? And you need autonomy to be industrious. Here we go. Industrious. Industry versus inferiority. Where does inferiority complex come from? You already have inferiority when you feel you can't do it. There's nothing wrong with inferiority. You can take inferiority and then you can sit there and do something with inferiority to become what's the opposite of inferior? Superior. Right? Now, superiority complex, we don't want to get there, right? But here we go, inferior, right? Inferior, but then when you're industrious and then you try to learn how to do things, what does that do? That encourages you to take the initiative, right? Initiative versus guilt. Every time you try, you feel guilty, and it started from home. That buildup started from home. That buildup started from home. And this is not overall, because you could be strong in one subject and inferior in another, right? This is why when Black parents, especially Black parents, think that, oh, my child got a 4.0 GPA. And all of a sudden that overall means he's smart and skilled everywhere. Shit blows me. Shit blows me. He got a 4.0 GPA. So because he got a 4.0 GPA, that means he's smart everywhere. Shit blows me. Shit blows me. You could be a great student at school and be horrible in life. You could be a great student at school and be horrible in life skills. Those two things can exist. And it doesn't mean you can't get in trouble. Y'all get it. You see what I'm talking about when I say the parents screwed him? Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. All the parents are together and they've been together for years. See, look, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck about none of that material stuff. Show me the curricula. Show me and vice versa. You're right, swag. Show me the curricula. Show me the life curricula where you've taught him about family and consumer sciences, right? Family and consumer sciences. What is family and consumer sciences? That used to be called home economics, right? Cooking, child development, health and hygiene, home management and design, education and community awareness, sewing, textiles, clothing management, budgeting and economics, home defense, life defense. I could tell you one place where his family definitely screwed him. Miranda versus Arizona, 384 U.S. 436. That's the Fifth Amendment. Why are you talking to the police? Why are you talking to the police? Right after the incident, the first thing you do is admit to the police, yeah, I ain't no alleged. I did it. Is he gonna be okay? Do you think this could be self-defense? Why are you talking to the police if everything that you say can be used against you? Well, I told him don't talk to the police. But remember, I hope, Sarah, you're still here. Yeah, here we go. Remember, I talked about those types of learners, right? Those types of learners. Here we go. We got tactile learners, kinesthetic learners. We've got audio learners, and we got visual learners. What was the one thing this grandma, or this black lady kept saying to this boy? You didn't listen. You didn't listen. You didn't listen. If you understood your child's development, maybe your child's strength in how he learns is not in listening. Maybe it's in seeing, and maybe it's in doing. Take, for instance, my son. My son is 20 years old. He'll be 21 in a few months. If you go to educationplanner.org, you got the audio, visual, kinesthetic. My son is 20% audio, 40% kinesthetic, 40% visual. So what does that mean? If I want to teach him the way I need to teach him, Benjamin Franklin said, tell me I won't remember, teach me I will remember, involve me I will learn. So what does that mean? Absolutely, Sarah. He's a boy. You're listening. You're saying stuff to him. He's a hands-on learner. He sees it, does it. Sees it, does it. Sees it, does it. So how do you teach him? You act like a police officer, and then you put him under the pressure of having to answer questions. And then you see how he performs. He needs the hands-on experience of not talking to police. You find some police friends who are willing to act as interrogators, right? And then you put him under the pressure of him having to answer questions. And then you test him. And if he fails, you don't beat him up. You teach him how to respond. You can't just don't talk to the police. You got to put him under the pressure. Does that make sense? You don't know your child. You don't know your child. And the reason you don't know your child is because you don't know the inner child within you. You're not connected to your inner child. You, as a parent, had a lot of adverse childhood experiences you didn't ask for, and you have not connected with your inner child. And so the adult you is not in connect with the inner child within you. And so you can't see your child. You think that all you're going to do is just say and they'll do. That's not how they learn. Anybody who's an early childhood educator knows children learn differently. And when you're planning lessons, You have to factor in the audio learners, the visual learners, the tactile learners. You have to look at, is your environment an analytical environment, a practical environment, or a creative environment? If you understand children, you understand it can't be more audio because that's not the language of children. Play is the language of children. Play is the language of children. So your lessons have to include a lot of play. It has to include a lot of movement. And if you are an out of shape parent or you're struggling with disabilities, maybe you're not the best one to teach your child. Maybe you got to develop relationships with Lev Vygotsky, more knowledgeable others, so that way your child can learn better than you and better than the father you picked for him, because both of y'all may be ignorant. Both of y'all may be disabled. Both of you all may not be able to teach your child to be better than you. Why does it have to always be you as the parent? Why do you have to be the one to always give the lesson? See, some of you all as parents are selfish and stingy, and that comes from the inner child within you not being allowed to be selfish and stingy. They don't come out, yes, Sarah, they don't come out to introduce them as better or to better role models. Yes, you got a lot of parents who are jockeying for first place. Rules for thee and not for me. That's not child development. Absolutely, Osmosis Jones. They want to see you model the good habits. They want to see you model the good behavior. That's one of the reasons I lost weight, because teaching early childhood education, these kids are active. These kids, I gotta go. I gotta go respond to these calls, but I'm gonna end with this. These kids are active. Yeah, I'm back now. Am I good, Sarah? Let me know if I'm good, because I had a phone call come through. I got to go back. Yeah. You said it's not just the parents, it's teaching in the school as well. It's all wrong with history. What we were taught is all wrong. Yes, Debo, these nuts. I love your name. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, the parents failed Karmelo. Boy, we can have a long, I got to go. We can have a long lecture on this. Thank you, Sarah. Y'all understand the context that I'm coming from, right? Abusive teachers, if you know, you know, they will try to hinder talented children. Yeah. Yeah, King P. You see the point that I'm coming from? Yes. Yeah, man. I'm more than just a gun instructor, baby. I can teach you this is just a quarter of the certificates and certifications and knowledge that I've been blessed to have. I am a constructivist. When you look at it, you look constructivism, you got behaviorism. I'm a constructivist. Knowledge builds. The more you're a curious person and you love to learn, as a philosopher, which is just a lover of wisdom. I'm a philosopher, I'm a stoic, I'm a constructor. Boy, please, I'm getting better as the day keeps going. You said, King P, I met you in person and we had these type of conversations. So you know how I am. For the most part, I've been this way. I love to learn. I love to learn. And once I talked to that elder, and that elder told me, you will never get freedom from slaves. Most of the black folks that you are around can't teach you nothing. They can't. Now, here we go. They could teach you what not to do for sure, but they can't teach you what to do because they barely know what to do. You got to set yourself free and go outside the culture to learn better things and better practices, because inside the culture, you ain't going to find it. You're not going to find it. You'll find all types of examples. Now, here we go. In a car battery, you need a positive and a negative lead. You need the negative to confirm the positive. So black culture has value, but only to confirm what not to do. If you look at Abraham Maslow, we would have never had Maslow's hierarchy of needs if Abraham Maslow only studied black culture. We would have never had it. We would have never had it. You look at black culture to confirm why Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs is relevant. You look at black culture to confirm Yuri Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory that the microsystem is what destroys the children before anything else. You boy, please, we could teach a class on this all day. something positive and something to ground you. Microsystems damage, absolutely. Yeah, that's fine, King P. We agree on some things. We agree more than we disagree. Yeah, King P. I never have a problem with people who disagree with me because I learned from when you disagree. Now, when you disagree with me, you got to come back with something stronger because if you come back with something stronger, you help me be better. I'm a constructivist. Does that make sense? And as a constructivist, I can't be around people who just agree with me. I got to be around people who are willing to not attack what I know, but they are willing to understand what I know and why I'm wrong. And they meet me where I am. And then they add the right. Mike, this is the wrong piece. Let me help you. Oh, baby, when you say that, this shirt right here, I may be wrong, but I doubt it. And that's why I may be wrong is big. I may be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. Plato said this. I know this, and that is I know nothing, right? Look, let me tell you something. I'm willing to learn, but I know ignorance when I hear it. And the minute I hear somebody, and usually it's like this, you know that when you about to deal with somebody who ignorant, it's usually within the first 3 sentences that they say that you could already tell it's a trash can that's about to be inside. You already know it. It's like if you driving and then you drive by and look at the label on the trash can. Well, because your brain is automatically going to read what you see, you're going to read the label and recognize it's a trash can. But I'm not going to dumpster dive. I'm not going to dumpster dive because I know what's inside. And it could be $1 million inside. It's still in a trash can. I'm not going to go find out. I'm just not going to go find out. And that's how I am with most black folks. I hate to say it because as soon as I read the comments, I get to the first, I'm like trash and I'm gone. I'm gone. Just, I ain't got time because if you're an educator, you understand how to frame your first statements that open this up. You said, yeah, we talked about that. This is what I like what you do. You are like me in a lot of ways because I'm not afraid to learn and be wrong. But hey, let me say something. I am not afraid to be wrong. I am not afraid to be wrong. But it's how you package what you're trying to teach me. Like, hey, Mike, I get what you're saying. You're wrong. Can I help you understand? Yeah, okay. Help me. I want to hear it. And then as soon as you say that, oh man, I got notepad, I got pen, I got recorder. I'm willing to learn so I could be better for the next conversation. I am look, a person could be a candle or they could be a gas can. I'm a candle. Like that wig, baby. Help me out. Yep. All right. Let me get out of here. I love being wrong because I learned something from me being wrong. I love to learn new things. Yes, swag. Yes. See, the right people were in this room for the conversation. And I love having these lives. I'm gonna have more of these lives on YouTube because this is great. This is just totally great. And those who are supposed to be here, they here. I'm gonna end with this. Karmelo Anthony's parents and Austin's parents, they failed those boys. They failed those boys. They failed those boys because if Austin's parents would have sat there and said, hey, these YNs, I'm not saying they are these, but look at the social media. Every time you see them on social media, for the most part, it's always the fights and the young folks crashing out. The black folks, look, if they seem like they're about to be violent, walk away, get an adult. If most of them ain't coming from good homes, they ain't taught manners, they don't know how to act. Hey, just walk away because I want you to live, son. This ain't about proving a point. If Austin parents would have taught him that, Austin would have still been alive. If he would have walked away, he would have never had a chance to put his hands on Karmelo because he would have walked away. You see what I'm saying? So that's how Austin's parents failed him. Karmelo's parents failed him by just probably providing him material shit. He still didn't teach him life lessons. Sarah, you said they didn't know that. Tell me what was the they didn't know that again. What do you give me the context because I want to respond to what you're saying. You said they didn't know that, right? Yeah, like Karmelo's parents definitely failed him. If Karmelo's parents was from the hood, why you ain't teach your son how to talk to the police? And why you didn't involve? See, here's this. Here's where the black culture in F the police, here's where they F up. Because you don't have any police friends. You don't have any police friends. You didn't have any police friends. If you would have had some police friends like me, former cop, boy, I would have gladly put your son through interrogation. I am a trained interrogator as a detective, right? I'm a trained interrogator. Boy, I'll put your son through the ringer and then teach him. Don't talk to me. Because these are the traps I can set up for you. You say this, I'm going to go there. You say this, I'm going to go there. You say this, I'm going to go there. Yeah, you said this, but what you didn't understand was you opened yourself up to this. You probably don't, matter of fact, boy, you don't even know the game. So the best thing for you, and you need your son to experience that. Like, yeah, Mike put me through the ringer. Maybe I should just be quiet and just invoke the right to silent and just go on ahead and, man, shit, bro. Whew. All right, I'm glad you put me through that. See, that's what his son needed. That, I mean, don't get me wrong. You shouldn't have brought the knife. You shouldn't have gone to the side. Yes, okay. But especially going to the part where all of a sudden, well, we got the alleged suspect. Ain't no alleged. I did it. Oh, it was me. I did that shit. Black culture cultivates that. Black culture cultivates that. Yeah, I whooped that ass. Why? Because it's seen as a badge of honor when you, yeah, I whooped that ass. Yeah, I clocked that T. Yeah, I showed him who. Why? Here we go. You got little Demetrius running home from school. Little Demetrius runs in the house. Little Demetrius is breathing all out of breath. His mother's like, hey, what's wrong with you? I ran home from school. Run home from school. Why you run home from school? Johnny tried to fight me and I didn't want to fight, so I ran. Johnny tried to fight? Oh, hell no. You put your book back down right now and we going right over to there and we going to beat the shit out of, and I wish you, and if you don't get Johnny, I'm going to beat you. Black culture cultivates that. Black culture cultivates that. When little Demetrius is running home, I think that's his name. I gave so many damn names. But when little Demetrius run home and try to stay away from the conflict, and then you got black parents that make the children get into the fight, and then your son gets into the fight, and then he wins, it's a badge of honor trying to please that parent. Black culture cultivates conflict, and it starts from childhood. It starts from childhood. That's why Karmelo had no problem telling the officer, oh, no, it's not alleged. He don't even know what the damn word alleged means. Alleged means we think you did it. We're not saying you did it. We think it. Oh, no, it's not alleged. I did it. Oh, no. And you made a rest just stay statement to the cop. You didn't get Miranda. You didn't get shit. You just rest just stay. Oh, it's not alleged. I did it. Is he going to be okay? Could I use this as self-defense? Why would you say any of those things? Why would you say any of those things? And here go his mom and daddy. He was a good kid. We taught him everything he needed to know. Yeah. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You fucking failed your child. You failed your child. You failed your child. It's partly not your fault because black culture does not cultivate parents. No. Black culture is a pathologically, willfully ignorant culture. Pathologically, willfully ignorant. What do I mean when I say pathologically? You can follow the path of ignorance. Willfully ignorant. You're ignorant just simply means you generally don't know. And willfully, you want to not know. Chris Rock even said it. Black folks love to not know. They love to not know. You want to hide something from a black person? Put it in a book, because don't read. Not my words, Chris Rock. And he is right. Josh Johnson even said it in his comedy special. Kendrick Lamar can't save you. Every revolutionary that the government thought would really try to help black people, they deleted. But I guarantee you, every revolutionary, they wrote a book before they got deleted. And guess what? Just because they know you not gonna read it, they put the book in the library for free. They put the book in the library for free. The freedom that you think you want or that you really want is in the place you won't go to for free. You don't even have a library card. I got a library card in reach. In reach. Here it is right here. Chicago Public Library. I got a library card. You don't even read. But you want Kendrick Lamar to dance. They not like us. They not like us. He can't save you. Josh Johnson even said it. Entertainment is escapism. Art will save your life. Entertainment cannot be your salvation. Entertainment is escapism. Entertainment has never taken away the chains you think you are in. 30 million words, Building a Child's Brain by Dr. Dana Susskind. 30 million words, Building a Child's Brain by Dr. Dana Susskind. 30 million words, Building a Child's Brain by Dr. Dana Susskind. Go read that book. Go get the audio book. She says it in her book. She's a cochlear implant surgeon who thought that, well, if I could just help the children hear, maybe that'll help them, right? Yeah, that's a part of it. But a great percentage of they don't read. You don't read to your children. Your children is ignorant because you're ignorant. The parents failed Karmelo. Now, I ain't gonna say Austin's parents failed him in that respect. They might read. They might do that thing. I don't know. They didn't teach him how to stay away from the YNs. That's why he got stabbed. You said, I like that. You're chill no matter what. And don't let people's ignorance get to you. Facts. Yeah, it's on Audible. There you go. I promise you, Sarah, you listen to that audiobook, it's going to bless your soul. It's going to bless your soul. It's going to bless your soul. You listen to that audiobook. I love reading too, but audiobooks are amazing because it's like having a conversation with the author, right? You got to be honest with the type of learner you are. Maybe reading may not be your strong set. Now, you need to still do it, but audiobooks exist for a reason. So yes, you may not like to read, but do you like to have a conversation? Get the audiobook. You won't even get the audiobook. See, it's the parents who fail these children. He has book smarts, but lacks common sense. I'm just saying, man, look, yes. Right? And here we go. King P, I got to land on this. The name of the book is 30 Million Words, Building a Child's Brain by Dr. Dana Susskind. 13 million words, Building a Child's Brain by Dr. Dana Susskind. Right? He has book smarts but lacks common sense. Here we go. King P, much to your point. Much to your point. Oh, I love you, Sarah. Yes, right on time. Myself and boys are starting a new book tomorrow. You will be blessed by that book. And I got plenty more books to recommend, right? Here we go. Common sense. Common sense is defined as good sense and sound judgment in practical matters. Good sense in sound judgment in practical matters. The definition of practical is of or concerning with the actual doing of things rather than just theories or ideas. These are dictionary definitions, not my words, right? When you sit here and parents talk about, just like this black woman talking to this boy, what does she say? Well, you didn't listen to your parents. Baby, that's not common sense. That's not common sense. And most black parents, all they got is words. All they got is words and bad advice. That shit just cracked me the fuck up. Most black parents just got words and bad advice. Like, you know the laugh is good when you got that vein. Most black parents just got words and bad advice. You got several failed businesses and ain't learned shit from them. You dumb as fuck. But because science worked and you had a baby, now all of a sudden you're a fucking parent and a leader. But you dumb as shit and give bad advice and you expect your child to listen to you. You couldn't spot the red flags in my daddy, but you want to teach me how to live a better life? Nigga, how? How you gonna do that? How you gonna do that? You got 40 men underneath your pussy. You don't read, but you expect your child to listen to you? Where the fuck they do that at? You getting the real mic now. Where the fuck they do that at? Where the fuck they do that at? You couldn't spot the red flags in these 40 men that you'd allowed to hit you and quit you, but you supposed to be giving me good advice. I'm supposed to listen. And you think kids don't pick up on that? You think kids don't see the revolving door of bad decisions that you make? And here you are fighting for the soul of your child. You said most of them thinking that having relations with a bum qualifies them for something all of a sudden. I'm just saying, your child's smarter than you think. They know you're not a knowledgeable person, but what do? You trying to exercise control. So that's why you beat them when they don't listen to you. Have you ever thought that maybe you're a boring person? Baby, you didn't listen to your parents. Have you ever thought that maybe you're a boring person? Maybe that's the reason the other 40 men left, because outside of pussy, you can't solve problems. And it's not just for the women, it's for the men too. Outside of penis, you just can't solve problems. Children know who the teachers are. What do they say? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. The student been ready, but your mama and daddy dumb as fuck. And then you wonder why the baby's making bad decisions. They're making bad decisions because you're dumb. And that doesn't mean you're worthless. I never said you're worthless. Look at the definition of what dumb means. Look at the definition of what stupid means. Look at the definition of what ignorant means. That's you. That doesn't mean you're the problem, but those are problems that you have. And you're spreading that to your children. And then when they don't listen to you, now you want to beat them. Fuck out of here. That's why I said that I'm glad that African elder got to me early. You'll never find freedom listening to slaves. You got to listen to people who actually produce results. And most folks, don't get me wrong, King P. I'm not crapping on, I'm going to end with this. King P, I'm going to bless your soul with this. Here we go. Mary McLeod Bethune, right? Mary McLeod Bethune, wonderful educator, black educator. What did she say? Children have a powerful potential, and we have to have the courage to change old ideas and practices to new ones so we can drive their potential towards better ends. How many black moms you hear quoting that? None. Dumbasses. Come on now. Talk shit to me like I'm stupid. Come on now. Mary McLeod Bethune even said, you can't still do the same shit and expect them. Things evolve. If you look at Yuri Bronfenbrenner's ecological system, I'm sorry, Lev Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, I was right. Yuri Bronfenbrenner, his microsystems theory, right? The ecological systems theory, chronosystem. Things change over time. You still want to whoop ass for a 2025 problem. That's why your children ain't learning shit. You stupid. Stupid just means you're having or displaying a great lack of intelligence. You're stupid. You're stupid. And then you wonder why the children are performing poorly at school, because you're a poor teacher at home. You're an unqualified teacher. And the thing is, it's not the issue with you being a single parent, right? Because single parenting is not my problem. Single parenting is no more a problem than what would be a problem if a single principal, right? Because there's only one principal of every school. If a single principal walked into the school for the first day and had 100 children staring at this principal, and the principal had no assistant principals, they had no other school staff, they had no resources, they had no network that they could call to and get things to help the school grow. That's the problem. It's not the problem that you're by yourself in a marital relationship. It's the problem that you have no relationships with other people better than you. You're the only person who wants to teach everything, but you're dumb. That's the problem. It's not the problem that you don't have a husband. It's not the problem that you don't have a wife, whatever that is. It's the problem that you want to be the only one to teach everything, but you know nothing. That's the problem. You don't have Lev Vygotsky, more knowledgeable others. You know you dumb. Being a single parent is not the problem. It's you not having relationships with better people that's the problem. You don't have a team. It's just you. That's why your child's going to fail. Your child's going to fail because you're dumb for no reason. And the library is down the street. If you can suck a dick, you can read a book about Moby Dick. YouTube, don't give me grace, please. Just give me grace. Let that one slide. Let that one slip. I'll never say it again. Let that one slip. Let that one slip. Yes, Miriam, that's the book. Let that one slip. Ah, Miriam, you ain't shit. She put the, y'all see, and the little whale got the thing coming out of his mouth. Oh, Miriam, what you doing? can't make this shit up. You said no, that's pro LGBTQ, I think. Oh, you. Oh, God. Oh, you get what I'm saying, right? It ain't the problem that you're a single parent. It ain't the problem that you're a single parent. It's the problem that you got no relationships. You don't have a team, and you want to be the only one who knows everything, but you know every nothing. You know every nothing. You said Moby took me out. Yeah, Sarah, you get it. All right, I gotta go. I gotta go to the range. I gotta qualify somebody at 11 o'clock. Love y'all. Wonderful conversation. Hit the subscribe button, like, all that great stuff. Man, 30 million words by Dr. Dana Suskin. And here we go, Sarah. Sarah, please, can you do me a favor, Sarah? Sarah. If nobody else does it, please, can you do me a favor? So, I got my own audiobook. It's What I Tell Myself First, Children's Real World Affirmations of Self-Esteem. It's on Audible. It's on Amazon. I would love it if with your boys, whatever, if you all go get, let me see, What I Tell Myself First, right? Here's my book on Amazon, but it's also the audiobook, right? If you could get the audiobook and then listen to the affirmations, right? Why did I create this book? Because this book, the mindset is everything. You want to talk about growth mindset? These affirmations are part of that growth mindset. I would really love an honest review of these affirmations. The audiobook, well, I got the membership, so it's only 99 cents. But the audiobook isn't expensive. I don't know what expensive is, but you get what I'm saying. Like, if you all go get that audiobook, man, just, you get what I'm saying. You said screenshot it. I'll hold it up. Right. What I tell myself first, right? Things like, I like me. Not everyone will like me. That's okay. I like me, right? I am beautiful or handsome. I will not be beautiful or handsome to everyone. That is okay. I am beautiful or handsome to me. Right. Those change can be good. Change can be bad. Change can be happy. Change can be sad. Like, these affirmations are everything. Just if you could provide an honest review, whatever the case may be. This is on Amazon. This is on Amazon. If you go to Amazon and look up What I Tell Myself First, that's the audio book. Okay. It's the audio book. It's a print book, stuff like that. But the audio book, I even begin to explain. Okay. I even begin to explain what the affirmations are. I even begin to explain what the affirmations are and the use of that stuff too. You said dry erase markers on their mirror. Outstanding. All right, let me get out of here so I can go. Peace. Love y'all. Bye.